Mario, why go public in the US?
Well, this is the biggest capital markets platform in the world. For us, we've always thought that in order for us to truly go global and to seek partnerships all over the world, we need to be at the biggest exchange. And that for us is Nasdaq.
And so give us the thesis. You're going out to the investor base. Obviously, you're trying to woo them on the business model. The business model one is perhaps hard for a US consumer to understand, because for us, we think China, regulatory crackdown, gaming, but actually esports is something very different, well-loved, national pride.
Absolutely. Esports is well-loved, national pride everywhere in the world, every single government, exemplified by the recent news, the fact that there is going to be an esports Olympics at Saudi Arabia in 2025. I mean, for us, whether it is an investor from China, whether it's an investor from the US, the business model of running esports teams, the excitement that comes out of it can be understood by everyone.
Our gamers and esports fans in the audience will know that you're the parent company or holding company behind Ninjas in Pyjamas in Sweden, ESV5 in China. And you guys talk a lot about the big market opportunity, right? You cite this report that esports globally is going to be a $100 billion a year market by 2027. Your teams do well, but you've booked about $19 million in prize money. So for all the investors watching, how do you make that number a lot bigger?
Well, prize money is only one part of our business revenue, which belongs to the part where we run esport teams. We also do a lot other than that. We also do talent management. We have sort of an IMG where we sign and manage a lot of esports talent. We also do offline events production, very much like the Esports Live Nation. And in the future, we're going into so many different new avenues like esports hotels, games publishing. We're definitely going to be raising the overall revenue pie of the company, not just prize money, but that is something we care about because our brands are a very, very winning brands.
You mentioned the impact of having esports at the Saudi Arabia Olympics. That's a really interesting global view of this market. Could you sort of compare and contrast for us the health of esports in the USA against the health of esports in a market like China, for example?
Well, I think in terms of monetization and sponsorships, because the U.S. has a very well-functioned traditional platform for traditional sports, I think the esport teams tend to do very, very well here. On the other side, in China, for example, you'll see a bigger size of following. More people, bigger population, more population that follows games and esports. So for esport teams in China to rack up a huge following and then to monetize that would also be easier. So it's a different demographic. But in terms of competitiveness, I think it is the same everywhere in the world. And like you said, Saudi Arabia, I would be very excited to see how the U.S. teams pitch against the Chinese teams. And of course, teams from Europe and all over the world as well.
Mario, what sort of companies are wanting to really get in on the esport crescendo? I mean, many sort of think back to ultimately the collapse of FaZe over here in the US and a larger-than-life celebrities involved, but also worrying around the commitment of sponsors. What sort of companies are wanting to corral around you and wanting to support some of the players that you represent and the talent that you're going to be managing?
Well, first off, I think it is good to have a correction in the esports market globally, where we're now, as esports companies, are credited when you're able to prove a path to profitability. And that's great. That's, for the overall health of the esports industry worldwide. For us, we have insane sponsorship from all over the world. You see companies like Red Bull, BYD, China Mobile, Fila, Puma, brands that are targeting towards young people around the world will still find that very attractive to be represented by esports teams and have their logos on our shirts. And another reason for that is some companies want to really youngify or turn their brand younger in terms of audience. And for those types of companies, we're the sort of a very good partner for them.
Mario, Jackson Wang is a huge star. Mainland China in particular, huge following, and you've kind of tied League of Legends into his following. Will you replicate that strategy with any other celebrity in Europe or in the USA?
Absolutely. We're not saying no to that. The success of Jackson on his own, but also combining with the gaming audience has been something that's taken the market by storm. So if I'm able to form a friendship as strong as the one I have with Jackson here with somebody with a US celebrity, absolutely. But from business perspective, yes, those are all possibilities that we're looking to seek into the US markets.